So I'm here now with Brian Griffin, who's Director of Industry Services for PMMI. He's here this morning to talk with us about PMMI's OpX Leadership Network, which is a consortium of about 250 end-user manufacturers and machine builders. More specifically, we're here to talk about some of the remote equipment access best practices that have been built around OpX. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Aaron. Glad to be here.
So a couple years ago, OpX Leadership Network released an options analysis tool for remote equipment access. Can you explain to us what that tool brings to the industry?
Yeah, this tool is a tool used to develop a protocol for remote access between a machine builder and their customers. So the tool presents 5 different network methodologies or ways to connect remotely to a machine, and it compares that to having a technician come on site and do the work in person. And so it compares across several different categories, such as the IT costs to purchase and install the infrastructure, how robust the architecture is in terms of security and reliability. It takes a look at the level of security for operations and other types of parameters around these same criteria. The tool then provides a comparison of those criteria versus the on-site technician. So you can see how much more robust it can be to access remotely, or how much more security you can have when you're accessing remotely versus having someone come in and plug something into your plant directly. The intent was to create a starting point for the machine builder and the manufacturer to start working together to determine what's the most appropriate remote access solution.
Okay, great. So is there anything that the group has been working on more recently?
Yeah, we've not been working on any new tools as much as we've been under these new circumstances promoting the existence of this tool. So we've been doing a lot of webinars, technical publications, different panel discussions, presentations, etc., to show companies that there are a lot of good opportunities for performing service and maintenance activities when the technician can't actually be on site. We can still continue business operations in an appropriate and safe way.
Yeah, and there's certainly, with the pandemic, it seems like a lot more manufacturers are more willing to take the plunge into this remote access. We'll get into some of those technologies more deeply in a later session. But in the meantime, I'm curious about your perception of whether those brand owners are really ready for this undertaking.
Yeah, I honestly think that many of these brand owners or manufacturers are much more ready than they realize. There's been a lot of hesitation in the past about allowing access to equipment on the shop floor due to things like cybersecurity or personnel safety issues with accessing a machine remotely, etc. But the fact is, most manufacturers already have networks in their facilities. They have the office network, if nothing else. So their people are used to networking. So it's just a matter of being able to now translate that over to the shop floor. And that's the beauty of the options analysis tool, is it provides several different potential connection solutions for a wide range of technological maturities.
Okay, great. So do you have any particular advice for companies that are just starting to venture in? Where should they get their start?
One of the key things with any plant floor networking setup is to make sure that we have solid communications between the people involved before we worry about communications between the equipment. So the manufacturer's internal IT and OT personnel need to be communicating openly with each other about the needs that they have from each side, whether that's the cybersecurity side on the IT piece or whether it's accessibility in real time from the OT side. They need to be communicating what these requirements are and working together to find a solution. That then leads to the fact that they also then have to be communicating with the manufacturer of the equipment to make sure that they understand what the needs are and select a solution that can be managed and maintained by both sides, both the machine builder and the manufacturer. Too often, though, these lines of communications get blocked, they get forgotten, people just aren't talking to each other, and that's where the real difficulties start. There's a much higher chance of failure in the network when the human communications piece isn't solid.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So any other best practices you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, later on in the hour, we'll talk about another tool from the OpX Leadership Network around performing virtual FATs or virtual factory acceptance tests. But these and other tools like that can be downloaded for free from our website, which is www.opxleadershipnetwork, that's all one word, .org. So www.opxleadershipnetwork.org.
All right. Thank you very much for your perspective, Brian. I appreciate it.